the current antitrust precedent is fine if you establish that platforms have two customer groups. If you say that Google's content creators, their producers, are also customers, which you can do. The DOJ is overseeing the investigation into Google, which means, honestly, Google doesn't have anything to worry about because the DOJ is going to be focused on privacy for the consumer. What the DOJ is not going to look into from an antitrust standpoint is Google competing against its content creators, against its producers. They're going to solely look at how the consumer has been disadvantaged by privacy being abused by Google. And there's nothing's going to stick there because the consumer on Google Search, on YouTube, on Android is absolutely a net winner on Google Docs, on Gmail. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. All these things are free.
Right. You basically have a barter exchange where you're giving up data for access to the service. And if you look at the value, that's very easy for Google to make this a very technical economics argument of, you get more value than we're taking in the data. Because the other piece of it is that raw data, so my personal data, isn't worth that much. It's what you can do when you combine that with a bunch of other stuff and then put it through data analysis and big data processes that actually make it valuable. If I'm Google, I could easily make the argument that, yeah, your data is worth almost nothing. And that's what we do with it. And that's our IP that makes it valuable.
Right. Now, I mean, Google literally has scraped websites like Yelp. Jeremy Stoppelman, CEO of Yelp, has publicly stated this. There are countless stories of YouTube content creators being taken advantage of. And I think the key here is, can you prove that a content creator on YouTube or Google or let's say on Android is a customer? And you can absolutely prove that. All you need to do is follow the money, right? YouTube gets a 45% cut of ad revenue from a content creator. On Android, you pay roughly 30% through the Google Play Store. And on Google Search, you could say that there is a mechanism of cost to the producer when they punch you down in the Google page rank, and now you're forced to buy ads.
Right. They're preferring their own products. They've done this with Google Shopping. They've done this with
and they got
places.
They got in trouble with the EU in 2017 or
flights versus buying stuff from Expedia or some of the other OTAs out there.
Yep. So there's absolutely, I think, plenty of precedent to make the connection that the content creators could be considered a customer for Google. And if they're a customer, does the monopoly raise prices on the customer and put the customer at a disadvantage? And that, ladies and friends, is the past 50 years of antitrust precedent championed by the Chicago School of Economics, which everyone has said, the current antitrust precedent is wrong. No, those people are wrong. The current antitrust precedent is fine if you establish that platforms have two customer groups. If you say that Google's content creators, their producers, are also customers, which you can do, but it's not big and sexy and it's not in vogue. It's not in the news. It's not in the, political kind of foray to say, look at like the 1% of people creating content for Google Search or YouTube or apps for Android. And look at how the dominant platform monopoly in Google is raising prices on them. Okay, let's go after them for antitrust concerns.
Right. And the privacy stuff, it targeted Google and Facebook, but one, it didn't actually effectively go after them. It helped them. And two, the privacy thing is not just a platform issue. So you're missing a lot of the dynamics of what makes these companies dominant and successful if you're focusing on privacy. That's something that affects every online business, like a Marriott. What was the other one who got
British Airways?
British Airways, who got hit.
Yesterday.
They all have online businesses. They all have the same privacy issues that Google and Facebook do.
And now let's talk about, so Facebook had the settlement last Friday, I think, for $5 billion.
Yep.
And I think the FTC missed this, right? They settled $5 billion penalty for
Cambridge Analytica
and the privacy stuff. I mean, all of that was public information. Like they had APIs. All of this was publicly known. Okay, Facebook got a slap on the wrist. I mean, it's actually it's the biggest penalty ever by $5 billion.
But for Facebook, it's basically nothing, and that's why their stock price shot up right after it happened.
But here is the real thing that's going to continue, and this is interesting because Zuckerberg 2 months ago came out and said we need to be regulated to figure out what are the boundaries between suppressing free speech and filtering hate speech, and just having like a safe environment for people to post content and have dialogue in a content platform. And basically saying, hey, I shouldn't be making this decision, and I'm not going to get it right. And I can guarantee you next year, no matter who wins the election, one side is going to be angry at Facebook. And unless you have the FTC, and this is the role of the FTC, to provide guidance about what is appropriate, what is crossing the line. It's just like if I'm in a movie theater and I yell fire, that's illegal. If there's no fire, you can't do that. You actually get in trouble for that. And that's not a violation of free speech, and that's gone through the courts and that. But where are those lines? And no one has really had that conversation. Where is it now violating free speech and regulating what kind of content you can post and what is just inappropriate content and that's harmful content? And there are lines and the government needs to step in. But it's weird to me why the FTC is shying away from this, even when Zuckerberg is literally saying, come regulate me. So I don't get it.
I think if I'm the FTC, it's probably a pretty daunting task, and I might feel, I don't have the expertise or resources to do it. So they're maybe biding their time in hopes that as this becomes a bigger political issue, they might actually get
like the executive branch.
A bit of the force behind it that they need to make it happen. But
yeah, it's odd. It's unfortunate, really.